The following is rated not safe for work. It contains strong language, adult situations, and lots of spoilers. Discretion is advised.
In the criminal justice system, cinematic-based offenses are considered especially heinous. The dedicated attorneys who investigate these villainous films are members of an elite squad known as the Reels of Justice. These are their stories.
Hey, welcome to the Reels of Justice. This is our special 1-year anniversary episode. Episode 52, guys. Congratulations.
We made
everybody. We're 1 year old. Ryan said we couldn't do it, and we proved him wrong.
And one of us will die in the season finale.
Whoa, wait. Oh.
And we do have a special guest. We've got Trace Beaulieu here joining us. We may be joined by Frank Conniff at some point.
Stay tuned.
Frank's in the studio next door shooting CPO Sharky. He's going to be over here for a little special, something.
He's in a soundproof booth. He can't hear what we're saying. He doesn't know any of the Cutthroat Kitchen challenges that we've bought against each other.
All right, now, Trace, you're trying to match the answer that most audience members responded to.
What?
I'm too ashamed to try and do my bad Frank Conniff impersonation.
So, Trace, we have a coincidence, too, because you have your 12th live show coming up soon.
Yes.
You've got The Lost Missile.
Yes, Tuesday, the 8th of this month, which is still so. June. Yes, The Lost Missile. It's actually one of the better films that we will tackle. But
like Tingler good or
nothing's Tingler good.
Yeah, nothing's Tingler good, but this is pretty Tingler neighborhood. This is a Tingler adjacent, I would think.
Yeah,
it's in the Tingler cul-de-sac.
It's yes.
Ryan, do you know that one?
Yes.
I'm ashamed to say I don't think I've seen The Lost Missile.
I hadn't been aware of it until we started looking at it, and I'm constantly amazed. And we had Mike Nelson on our show last month, whenever it was. Michael J. Nelson from Mystery Science Theater 3000. And we were talking about how we're all, not to leave Frank out of this, amazed when we find a film like that we've never seen before. All the riff track stuff those guys have done and all the films we've looked at over the years, and even back to Mystery Science, we're still finding stuff like The Lost Missile.
It's like cultural anthropology finding this stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, we're down to the plesiosaurus, whatever, or is that an animal? I can never remember the.
That one's a dinosaur.
That one's a dinosaur. Yeah,
that one's Nessie.
See, most people at home don't know any of this stuff. They'll go, "Oh, it sounds like he knows what he's talking about."
Yeah, we just our little nerd glasses, and excuse me, actually.
I'm always wondering if one of the things that helps you discover of them is like recurring actors in them, right? Because there's so many recurring actors that end up.
What we found that is just looking for them. We just didn't look hard enough. No. There is actually a quite famous actor in The Lost Missile. Robert Loggia is in this film, and this is how old a film it is. He's got a high falsetto voice. In this movie is how long ago it was. Hello.
Yeah,
he's the most famous person I think we've had in quite a while in one of these movies.
Since Chuck Connors.
Chuck Connors, also Tinglericious, Vincent Price.
That's right.
Yeah, Vincent Price is, I'd say, the biggest one.
And of course,
Tingler.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to name drop more famous people that we've made fun of.
Well, I say on the Tingler, you got Victoria Price on the Q&A with you after.
Yes, that was none of our doing. I think that was all behind the scenes, and she'd heard about what we were doing, and we asked her to come in. That was our very first live guest, and then we thought, wow, this is a great idea we thought of. Let's have a guest all the time. That's sort of how it works, is like something cool coincidence-wise happens like that, and then we make it a staple and pretend we thought of it from the beginning.
Yeah, no, you've had some tremendous guests. I know Jonah Ray, Dana Gould, Mary Jo Peel, Bill and Kevin and Mike from Riff Tracks. They were all on each one, and J. Elvis Weinstein
and Andy Kindler.
Yep, Kindler was there, and the Svengoolie, Jim and Rich from Svengoolie.
Yep,
and of course Dana Gould.
And absolutely, Dana Gould. We've known him for 30 years, some odd years. And I don't even know who the guest is this week. That's how secret it is. Only Frank knows. I was going to ask.
Yeah, it's all TBA still.
I don't know what that means, but yes, we will tell you. Wait a minute. Hey. Yeah, I don't know. Frank keeps that locked in something that he can lock.
I think it's going to be Millie, the cat.
That'd be cool. She's kind of cameoed before, and but yeah, I don't know who it is. I kind of, we have a list, but who knows?
Yeah.
So that's special. We won't know until you know.
Oh, cool. No, very good. And if you can't wrangle anyone, feel free to pull us in the last minute. We'll show up. We've all got cameras.
My mom will be thrilled.
She really would. She worries about you, Ben.
I'll have to shave.
So basically a whole year. This will be your 12th show. Is there a movie that really stands out that you guys riffed, like a favorite?
We've done Ed Wood so much live that we just know that really works, and the jokes are really pretty solid. That's always a favorite. Walk the Dark Street, just because it's so obscure, and not a terrible movie, but just a terrible print. Really, no, it's a terrible movie.
It is a bad print, and the premise is kind of rough. Like, why would you not check that bullet? For people who haven't seen it, you should check them out. Walk the Dark Street is kind of like a most dangerous game, but in the city.
Yeah, and not good.
Seeing it with you guys live, it's so interesting. You're in a big, nice theater, and you guys are there, and it's this weird print on a big, nice screen. It's a very weird, surreal experience.
We projected that in the Science Museum Dome in San Francisco, and
oh wow.
It was like, this seems so wrong, Also, yeah, film to whatever digital transfer of those shorts. It's just just a postage stamp sized projection on this beautiful facility. Just seems so wrong. But if I started questioning what we did for a living, that would be the end.
So the only print in existence, or where did this particular print come from?
This is the one that's knocking around. The only one that we know exists. And we've met projectionists around the country who've said, "Oh, I can find that for you," and no one has. No one has
find the same one that you have.
Yes, well, that's what we found. One of our friends was able to patch together 2 different copies, so it looks a little more seamless. It's just even saying that means nothing.
And then there's one section, the choppers, that just gets really dark and it's one of the reels is really bad on that one.
Yeah, we had to do that same kind of thing on that too. Or maybe that's the film I'm thinking of, and not Walk the Dark Street at all. I don't know. But yeah,
there becomes kind of like preservation.
Sure. Well,
you're doing God's work.
Yes, exactly. I'm just thrilled that people can see these things that they would never have seen, like Phantom from Space, which is another one we've done recently.
Well, no one can see the Phantom from space.
That's right. And I don't want to spoil it, but until the end, when you can.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you go about finding these? Are fans giving them to you?
We've had quite a few fan recommendations. The Choppers was one of our friends and fans, and Tingler was an argument I had with a fan. I said, we can't do that. It's too copyrighted. And he said, no, I don't think it is. And he won.
Yeah. Are most of the stuff you get is all public domain?
That's what we try to do, just because we don't really have any kind of budget for this. Also, that presents to us the films that kind of fall into that sweet zone for us, which is that late 50s, early 60s kind of exploitation, weird sci-fi, weird hot rod. There's just something very comforting about that whole genre, if it's a genre, or just age.
And they haven't been done to death. That's kind of the added benefit.
Yeah, like a film like Plan 9 from Outer Space, which we've done, we probably wouldn't touch again because it's so well known and people have done it so many times. And Dana Gould really owns that movie now. He with his readings, his script reads of those, which are awesome. But that's before Frank and I were doing this on the road and then online. Dana invited us to riff Plan 9 in Seattle and then again in LA, which was a ton of fun to work with him on that. But he's not here now, and we are.
No.
But Dana's awesome. Dana's cool.
Maybe one day.
Have you seen his Hanging with Dr. Z, by the way? Just to plug one more thing of somebody else.
I haven't, but I know it's where he does Dr. Zaius.
Yes, it's really great.
Yeah, I haven't seen an episode yet, but I've certainly seen his Zaius impression a few times at some of the MST3K events. He likes to show up as Zaius, right, so that no one recognizes him. But I think if he tried it now, it wouldn't work.
Now if he showed up, they'd be like, Dr. Zaius, I'm such a big fan.
Yeah. And the makeup's great. It's spot on. It's like recreation. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. It is really cool. We asked you a favorite. Do you have a least favorite one? One that, unless somebody made you rewatch it?
When we're choosing films now, we know we're just going to be dealing with them for the month. And then unless we go on the road and take them with us, we don't have to view them again. The films that we did on the road, we did over and over and over. So we had to be very careful of which ones we chose. Of the ones we've done so far, I don't know. I'm kind of in love with all of them because they're, even like the Phantom from space, I wasn't all that wild about. But after doing it a number of times, I've really, they're all my children. I have
they're all
favorites.
Beautiful in their own way.
They're all, yes, even the weird ones.
Especially the weird ones.
Phantom from Space. Phantom from Space kind of has that like fiend without a face quality where it's like, we can't afford to show you the monster for the whole movie, so he's invisible.
Yeah.
And Brain from Planet Arrows kind of does the same thing.
Yes. A lot of voiceover aliens and monsters. Brain from Planet Arrows is also just so much fun. It's so goofy.
The brain is great.
Yes. Well, and yes, the brain is pretty cool.
For as long as the brain lasts. I think we were watching, this past Halloween, we were watching Ernest Scared Stupid, and it has just a clip show of old movies kind of in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the clips they show is the brain from Planet Arrows, where the guy's hitting the brain with the axe.
Oh, yes.
And, we were watching with some little kids, and a little 7-year-old girl goes, "Oh, there's going to be a brain monster in this movie?" And I'm like, unfortunately, that's not this movie. And so she's wanted to see, basically, she wants to see the brain from Planet Arrows, but I don't have the heart to tell her that there's barely any brain monster. Like, you saw all the brain monster that's in that movie.
That was it.
That movie is actually one that the four of us watched live together.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because usually I know you guys do your live shows Tuesday nights. That's almost always when we record. So we always miss it, and I usually have to, download later and watch it later. So, but that is one of the best things I think about the live show that you guys do, is that if you buy a ticket and you cannot make the show live, you get the link to download it later, and you can watch it at your leisure and build a little Mads Live library for yourself. So
yeah, it's just a little perk,
Yeah, I think it's a great feature, actually.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did some of the ones you've done before too, because I saw them live. I don't quite remember the joke, and now oh, here it is.
Well,
Yeah.
and
For
they
my viewing
changed too.
pleasure.
The jokes changed
They
from the
changed.
live show to the, just because we either can't remember or, it's a different sort of performance too. So
Yeah, or you didn't like it. Or just
yeah,
throwing it out.
yeah. Or we got lots of mail and we actually read
One
it.
time nobody laughed.
we
I'm
don't.
scrubbing that joke.
Yeah.
What do you think would be a strong movie if you got back on the road from the ones that you've been doing? What do you think would be a good road movie to take back
That's
out?
a good question.
Headliner movie.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to do all of these in front of an audience to see where the laughs actually happen.
Fair.
But yeah, any of these, Phantom from Space, I think would be a great one. T-Bird Gang, I think would benefit from, and of course the shorts are always fun live. They're much more when you can hear people in the audience, different age groups, laughing in recognition of having seen these things.
I can imagine that the marijuana short kills. Absolutely kills.
I would hope so. I can't wait to do that live.
Yeah.
I mean, the short. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, naturally, of course.
It's Denver. It's okay.
I mean, it's legal.
Denver.
It's okay. It's fine.
In some of the places. I imagine the Mads don't travel down south.
We started
Texas,
the Mads back in 6 years ago or 5 years ago. Easter Sunday in Memphis. We did an atheist convention. Frank had gotten this invitation to come riff a movie, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go do this with me?" I went, "Yeah, that sounds fun. Memphis, we get some food anyway."
Yeah.
And that was for the atheists.
God's not dead, right?
God's not dead. Yes.
I'm not a believer, but I'm not going to an atheist convention. I mean, the whole reason I'm an atheist is I don't want to go to church.
Well,
I want to see that riff, though. I want to see it so bad, and I don't know how it will get to me because it seemed like that was just such a bubble of an experience. You're not going to get the rights for that like at Alamo Draft.
No, that was like a one-time for that audience. But yeah, I had the same reaction. I go, I didn't know we met or why. Because
yeah, exactly. I'm apathetic.
We're sleeping in and watching Laurel and Hardy. Come on.
Exactly. Those are like the atheists that go door to door and knock on your door.
Yeah, Jehovah's atheists.
Yeah. Have you not heard? Have you not heard the word of God?
It's like just
ignore it?
But very nice people.
Have you heard the good silence?
And Memphis is great. Very cool town. Would love to go back there because they still have some barbecue I haven't eaten.
There's still that one plate out there that you didn't get to.
And Cinematic Titanic, we were in bits of the South. We were in South Carolina, North Carolina. We've played North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham. We were in Durham a couple of years ago.
There's a couple of great movies that they did in Cinematic Titanic. I don't know if you guys would consider, like Wasp Woman. I know Cinematic Titanic did. I don't know if you guys would.
It's
retreading that.
Yeah, we kind of try to avoid that. If any of the other riffing groups have done it, it always comes back like, "Oh, you heard those guys do it." And I go, "No, I never listened to those guys. Not that they're not great. You should listen to them, but I just don't because it's not." Oh, geez, get a shovel, dig a hole. We don't want to revisit. Oh, although we did the Santa Claus
versus the Devil.
Yeah, just because it was Christmas, and there aren't that many holiday movies that are that bizarre and entertaining.
And it becomes part of the RCU, the Riffing Cinematic Universe.
Yeah,
there you go. We should have copywritten that, but damn it.
Yeah.
Copyright Ryan Rodriguez.
Yeah, and I can understand people saying, "Oh, it's not as if anyone's biting any jokes from anyone. It's just there's the joke. That's the right joke for that place." So I always find it interesting, seeing the movies that Riff Tracks does that MST3K also did. I like watching all the Santa Claus Conquers the Martians versions, like every Christmas.
Oh, you're a stronger man than I.
I've always said that.
I take one, I rotate them.
I still remember in the Cinematic Titanic one, Trace begins the episode by running away in terror, and that's how I feel watching that movie.
Yeah, it's it's not a favorite. I wouldn't revisit that one. I've been asked, but I won't go back.
You have a number in mind, and if they can meet that quote, you'll do it.
The number continually calculates in an upward. It's like the national debt. That
it just keeps going.
Yes.
And when somebody gets to the number that you wanted, then you go, "I'm sorry, that was 2 minutes ago. It's now higher."
Yes. Yeah. There's like the sign. What building has the sign with the national debt? It's all in LED or whatever.
Wall Street,
I used to walk by it. No, it's not. It's in Times Square. I used to walk by
is
it
it?
all the time when I worked in Times Square.
Just a depressing sign.
It's like the IRS. It's like an IRS building.
Yeah, it's like, here's how, again, how we're just spinning out the rest of the human race. We're just, running out the clock.
Spending money will never go out of fashion.
It's like if PETA had a running tally of how many puppies were stomped to death that year on an LED board
I'm pretty sure
outside
they
their
have
building.
That. They put it on
Would
TV.
that move that fast, though? I mean, I don't want to know now.
No, I don't have those questions. We've taken a bad turn.
Now, of the movies, do you have any particular riffs that you think are really strong? I know one of my favorites was in the Choppers too, where the guy's miming driving, and you're like, "That's not how you drive. You be all over the road."
Oh, it's kind of a blur. I don't remember specific ones unless you remind me, like you just did. But yeah, they go by so quickly.
Is Choppers the one with the cock ring? Is that the one?
Yeah. Where he's got the master lock. He's like, "Put this on your cock."
Oh, jeez.
It's just a shock. It's for the kids. Just to shock them, just to buy the album. Come on, or
Kids these days with their cock rings. What they think of.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, you guys do tend to have more of an adult tone, so I don't know if you would do some. I don't think there's old movies with a lot of swearing, but I wonder if you could get away with like Orgy of the Dead.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know. I don't know that one. That's one I'd have to watch. I'm aware of the title, but I've somehow managed not to see that.
It's
Corpse
Ed Wood.
Grinders.
Oh yes, know that one. I worked on a show with J. Elvis Weinstein called Fast Food Films, and we dealt with the Corpse Grinders. The premise was to take a full-length movie and cut it down to 7 minutes and make something else out of it, like a commercial or something like that.
I forget what Jacko was, but Boy in the Plastic Bubble was a commercial for Bubble Tech.
Yes. Oh, you've seen it. Yes.
That Paul Feig narrated.
Yeah. That was something we all worked on. Josh was working on the pilot. Boy, back 100 years ago.
I like Corpse Grinders,
mid-90s?
but
yeah,
down south they call it Corpse Po' Boys.
Oh, jeez.
Nice.
Whoa!
And one of my other favorites too. I think the short is like about the kids in class that kind of are just like turning on each other, and they're super violent. There's like a class election.
Oh,
the teachers trying to get them all under control.
Yes.
But I think the narrator says something about his foot's in the door as the school bus is taking off, and you're like, the bus can't leave. His foot's in the door.
See, I completely forgot about that short.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite
to
shorts?
wash away the soil.
But do you have any favorite shorts?
Oh boy, the one that always kills is the Cautious Twins. But we've kind of retired that one now, as we've done it so many times and recorded it quite a few times. I really enjoy the Classroom Full of Giant Plush Ears. Are you listening? Just so bizarre. Those weird, like, this'll help kids. No.
Yeah. I don't know what's stranger, the ones aimed at children or the ones aimed at like adults. There's that or like the businessmen ones. There's the time log short that's like narrated by Henry Kissinger.
Yeah.
If you keep a time log, you'll be surprised where your time goes.
Yeah. It's like, how was this just to kill time during the day? Just, this will,
they got a grant, they had some money to spend. Let's just make a film.
I always imagine that when they're played in schools, it's for a cigarette break for the teacher. Like,
yes.
they want to go out and have a puff.
Yep.
Okay, whatever. Just put this shit on. I don't care.
Brought to you by Murley's.
Back then, I imagine the teachers could smoke in school.
Yeah, well, in the lounge, teacher's lounge. You could smoke, but it had to be in a certain area. It wasn't like they had a big ashtray on their desk or something.
You never saw any of these shorts back in school or anything, right?
The marijuana short, I remember. I don't remember it as well. But yeah, there's some highlights. There was a PSA that I'm still trying to find for blasting caps.
You have it. It's on there.
But not the specific one that I remember that was on television.
There's multiple blasting caps.
Yes, apparently it was a scourge during our childhood. But
because the one you guys did gave me acid reflux. Like I was so worried that they were going to throw the blasting cap in the grill, and what would happen, because these things can get very dark very quickly.
Yeah. It's I'm still kind of amazed at the phenomenon itself. That there was so much construction going on that just like guys were just willy-nilly tossing blasting caps around the landscape, and then it was the kids' responsibility, to be aware of these things. I never found anything cool. Well, we did find some cool things. Yeah.
Can't talk.
None of them exploded.
Most of them did. Yeah. Hanging around railroad yards as a kid, you find all kinds of cool stuff.
Hobos. So yeah, now so that's going to be your 12th show. It'll be a full year.
Yes,
that's similar here. This is my segue. This is us. Thank you. This is us coming up on our 1 year. This is our 52nd episode.
Congratulations!
We're airing, so happy anniversary, everybody.
Thank you.
I want to divorce.
Yeah, and I know Trace, you served on the jury last time here for when we did The Wicker Man, and screwed me over. So
you ruled in my favorite, Trace. That's why you're my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was so drunk that day. Oh.
Retrial.
That's why I sent you all that bourbon before the show.
I thought I was the only one who was drunk during that recording.
This is a chance to change your verdict and be placed in the right side of history and say that The Wicker Man is not guilty. But we've done some other really cool movies this year. Ryan, do you have any particular favorite case that we've done that you enjoyed?
I mean, it's always Shape of Water for me. Like that's to me, that's where the podcast starts. Like that's when we know what we're doing. That's when we get a guest that is like
we know what
bringing it 1,000%.
Yeah,
Liesl Hansen,
the concepts like right off.
Oh,
yep, we had
good.
Liesl Hansen. That was a great one. Trace, have you seen Shape of Water?
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah. Did you like that one?
I did. I'm a big Del Toro fan, and I like Creature of the Black Lagoon. So what are you going to do? It's all there.
Victory is justified.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was great. And I think that's the first episode Ben sings, and he sings a lot on this show now, it turns out.
I'm like Kevin Murphy of this show.
It's a running gag. Absolutely. But I believe we found Shape of Water not guilty. But just barely. Liesl had a great case about the fish man's ability to consent, which is still up in the air.
Not going to relitigate this one.
No. I mean, Ryan is sharing just some of his favorite trials. It's a retrospective.
I know,
right? So, but Dylan, do you have a favorite episode then?
I love so many of them, and but one of my favorites I gotta say is when we did. It was a head-to-head, which we sometimes do when a guest wants to do like a really, really good movie that's kind of hard to pick apart. We do the head-to-head, and we had a historian extraordinaire, Jeremy Black, on to do Goldfinger versus Casino Royale, the Daniel Craig version. So it was kind of an old versus new. And he had so much fun. I still keep in touch with Jeremy today. He was on the show before. He was going to be on the show again after that. And he even asked me to write an endorsement for his James Bond book, which was published. So there's the little Dylan Schlender of Reels of Justice on the back of
host of Reels of Justice.
Okay, that was the publisher.
The only host, Dylan.
He does the least amount for the show and calls himself the host.
So I have a little blurb on the back of his James Bond book, Dylan Schlender, host of Reels of Justice, and that just that just tickles me. So, and it's a great episode too. So it's very much worth listening to. It's always fun to talk about James Bond.
Goldfinger, because I know you have a proclivity for throwing your hat at people. But I don't. Have you seen Casino Royale?
Oh yes. The new one.
The new one.
The new one, right?
Yeah.
I kind of like both. I like the old one and the new one. The old one
was our first episode. Was the old one.
Fun.
Our first episode was the original Casino Royale with Kirk Thatcher from Star Trek and all sorts of puppet fame. And we did not like the original Casino Royale at all.
Did not at all.
Yes.
Silly as it was, we couldn't get it off because it was just it was such a mess.
It is
Such a mess.
It is.
Although I support the last 20 minutes when it becomes Blazing Saddles.
Oh, that's what I hated it the most.
I'm not saying we didn't say it's a charming mess, but it is a mess. That's not the movie they wanted to make. It's the movie that the seventh director felt he could staple together.
Right.
But it is the little movie that could. But yeah, we'll put you on the hot spot, Trace, on the hot seat. If you've seen Goldfinger and you've seen the new Casino Royale, which one are you going with?
I would go with the new one. New Casino.
Yes.
Yeah.
Casino Royale.
Trace.
Any reason?
As much as I love the old James Bond, some of the ideas don't translate. Well, didn't translate then. Some of the ideas about people and hierarchy and things, don't travel as well.
Yes.
It's more of a
so basically
nostalgic visit to those movies.
That is something we discussed. James Bond's misogyny was the
It
big
is
problem
hard
with
to
Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Well, and he's a prisoner the whole movie. He doesn't actually do anything.
He does stuff at the end.
But I think we did rule in favor of Goldfinger for that.
We did. And you know what, though? It was a well-argued case on Jeremy's part. It was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of... That episode is a ton of fun.
No, I do like that one. And we've done a ton of Bonds. Like we said, we've done Casino Royale. We've done Moonraker.
Bond is our Everest.
Yeah, we're trying to get all the Bonds done. We did, what's that other one? Skyfall, for some goddamn reason. I still don't understand why we did Skyfall. It was super not guilty.
That was Maynard's opening. It's like, what are we doing here? This is the good one.
Yeah, this is the good one. Yeah, we should have done Spectre. Probably one day I'll make Ryan watch Spectre again. The first half's
you can
good.
try, sir. You can try.
First half's good. The first half is good. So Big Ben, what have you got? What's your favorite? Looking back on the year.
I don't know if I'll stick to this one, but the one that's coming to me now, just because it was ridiculous the way we did it, and it still makes me laugh, is Die Hard, a Christmas movie. Is it guilty of being a Christmas movie? Because all movies are assumed not to be Christmas movies until proven otherwise.
Are you slowly walking closer to the mic as you speak there? You started very faint, and then you came in. But so you like Die Hard?
Yeah, just because of the ridiculous concept and the way we did it. Movies are assumed not to be Christmas movies until proven otherwise.
Yeah, it was pretty convoluted.
That was with our good friend Scott Weitz, and that was me again, and that was another really fun one. It was just so silly.
Well, I like the fact we don't want to do it all the time, but I do like turning the concept on its head just every so often,
Yeah. Trace, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
It is.
Yes!
Yes! Okay, I can't get Trace every time, I guess. 2 out of 3.
Yeah, exactly.
It's loaded with Christmas iconography, so it's kind of hard to say no.
But is Gremlins a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Where do I start with Gremlins? It's not for me. It's not a Christmas movie for me.
Interesting. Despite all the Christmas iconography.
I know,
Very interesting.
but the snow looks so fakey. Come on, I know what snow looks like.
It is fake
That's
snow,
fair.
for sure.
It is. And
if
that's
it
why
was-
the Gremlins don't transform.
Exactly. If it was real snow, they would have been multiplying.
Yes.
Good point.
Once
Hadn't
they got
thought of
wet.
that. I was just
Yeah.
lashing out in hatred
Oh, yeah.
for fake snow.
I still love Gremlins.
Speaking of
anyway.
lashing out in hatred, Ryan... No, I'm kidding.
That is-
So, Rob,
When is that
I'll
gonna
ask
happen?
you, what was your favorite episode?
Gosh, I wish I had one in mind. I really liked. We did Ready to Rumble. which
I
is
love
the
that
pro
episode.
wrestling movie from the 2000s. And I really liked that one because I got to do a lot of pro wrestling promos and pretend to be several pro wrestlers throughout the course of the show. I did lose though, so that's kind of bitter to me.
But you know,
'Cause
our guest Robin Warder, he was just as knowledgeable as you in wrestling, so that was
I beg
made
to
it very
differ, but
interesting.
okay.
He was comparable to you in wrestling knowledge.
But yeah, no, Robin was very cool, and we'll have to have him back on one. So, but yeah, no, cool little trip down memory lane, and a lot of cool other movies that we've done, and we'll have a whole other year to do several more, hopefully worse ones. And I'll ask you guys: is there, if you could go back in time, I'll give you your time, and you could change a verdict from what we picked? What would you change, Ryan? You can change one verdict.
I
that
think
picked.
we all
What would-
know which one I would change, and that
Tell
is
me.
Jason Takes Manhattan.
You think Jason
You
takes
were a
Manhattan?
lawyer on that. You didn't.
Yeah, we found Jason Takes Manhattan not guilty.
Insane. That's fucking insane.
And the rationale I used for my vote, I wouldn't use now because I'm much more jaded. You know, Graham Skipper
Yeah.
made this appeal to emotion, like, "Oh, it's a fun movie to watch with your buddies," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm all about that." But now we've watched so many bad movies, I'm like, "No, it's just bad. I'm sorry."
Well, it's still fun, but I think we've since then, that was our second episode. We since then defined it's like we don't care if we enjoyed the movie. That doesn't make it good.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Although it was
because
nice
we-
to meet Graham. That was fun.
Yeah,
I will say
and
that.
it's because we enjoy bad movies so often.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that definitely comes from the being such fans of riffing, and we've come to love bad movies. Right? I always thought Manos is one of my favorite movies, and it's awful, but it's still there's something I think, like you guys said, there Trace on the show. It's like, is this a snuff film? There's just such a quality of is this real? Like, because it looks so cheap that it could be real.
It has a interesting tone, and you look at films like what's the witchy one where the camera the big deal
Blair Witch
Blair
Project.
Witch.
Blair Witch the witchy one. Grandpa, don't watch television. I think it's kind of a forerunner to that sort of horror movie, even unintentional.
And it's singular.
But I will
It's
never
one of the
watch
most
Manos
singular
again.
films.
Hello?
Yep,
Ryan.
I'm here.
How do we
I'm
lose
here.
Ryan?
I don't know.
There he is.
Oh,
Ryan,
there it
finish
is.
your
Okay.
thought, please.
It was singular.
It's singular.
It's
That's
singular.
it. It's singular. That's your
one of
singular.
the most
Count it.
unusual.
Okay.
Yeah. It is so itself that it's not trying to be another movie.
But yeah, the thing about Manos though is like you look at a movie like Mandy, and Mandy and Manos kind of have that similar plot, right? Where it's like a family is tormented by a cult, and it's like you can take this idea, and if you get more money and you get better actors, you've got a lot more of a hit film on your hands. But they're very similar ideas at their core.
Yeah. Horrible.
You don't like Mandy, because you hate Nicolas Cage.
I
going
do
back
not hate Nicolas Cage. I've enjoyed him in things like Birdie and quite a few films. I think he's great in Racing Arizona. But just I'm not in on the all I love him because he's crazy thing.
Yeah.
Seems a little
I might be with
played
you
out.
there.
It's like, going after Nick Nolte because he's an old curmudgeon-y guy. It's like, yeah, kind of get it because that's what he is.
Did you see Color Out of Space? His craziness kind of. Really
I
works for
haven't
that
seen
one.
that, and I really want to see that.
Yeah, you should
That's a
definitely
good
see
one.
that
That's
one.
a good one.
That is a very good one. And his craziness really works for that. Willy's
Weaponized
Wonderland
craziness.
is kind of his new one, and I don't know if his craziness works super great for that one. But he doesn't speak like the whole movie. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, we watched
Yeah,
that one. Yeah,
he
says nothing.
he has like no dialogue. And
Do the robots talk?
Yes,
the
they do.
robots talk, and there's other characters there that talk, and like he might say a line or something at the end, but I don't even think he does.
Yeah, they
He
just
goes
put
the
a
whole
bunch
movie.
of teeny boppers in there to get killed.
That movie could be better if he was playing one of the robots in a giant furry suit. I
they
would totally
assimilate
watch the
him to
shit out
become
of
one of
that.
the robots.
That would be pretty great. Dylan, if you can change a verdict.
Okay, so the one I would say, because just because I think it was my best case, is I really enjoyed The Big Sleep with Matthew J. Elliott of Riff Tracks. And it's because I just really liked my case. I think I made a good case that it was a bad movie. And that was one of those bad movies I think we all enjoyed. And that's why we kind of found it not guilty. So I'm fine with finding it not guilty because I kind of like that neo-noir aesthetic in those movies from the 70s.
I don't remember enjoying that film.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
did enjoy it. Yeah, I found it not guilty because I thought Candy Clark did a great job.
Such is my point, though. So there's been a few that I've lost, but I think that one was one of my better cases, and I just had so much fun doing that with Matthew. So that was a good one. It would have been sweet to win, but hey, here we are. It's still good.
Ben, any verdict you'd like to change?
Well, am I changing my own ruling on it, or am I changing the verdict of the show?
You're changing the verdict of the show. So yes,
Okay.
Final Fantasy, tell me.
Well, it's either that or Dark Phoenix. I mean, it's like right down the line. In the case of Dark Phoenix, I don't know why you guys voted wrong. I voted guilty. I don't know what you guys were doing.
I was
we were so
feeling merciful.
Yeah, we were
Can't
so
help it.
sympathetic that day. We were so nice that day.
I mean, let's really peel back the curtain. I think we needed a guest win. I think they were on a
It
bad
probably
streak
was
at
that.
the
In the
time.
case of Final Fantasy, though, I thought the jury was sort of stacked against me in that, like, I don't know that my arguments were... I feel like I addressed every argument that the prosecution threw at me. And no, it's like, no, I don't like the movie. Like, I won! I know I won!
I mean, I would say, were you talking about Final Fantasy there or Dark Phoenix?
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy in that case.
Oh no, Final Fantasy guilty as hell. That movie sucks. But Dark Phoenix, I would be willing to.
But as far as the
reconsider
case
as being
goes,
guilty.
who won the case? I won.
Oh,
that.
me. I
No,
slapped
won.
you. I slapped you around, embarrassingly.
What
Oh,
worked
be
best
nice.
about that case, though, was the two of you going at each other like teenagers. Just completely like, oh yeah, well that's what you think? Well, that's not right. Duh. So
Who am
funny. Oh, absolutely some of the hardest I've ever laughed during a recording.
I think everyone at home wants to know, Trace, have you ever seen Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within?
I have not, unless
Don't
I
know.
have. No, Final Fantasy, is that part of a different franchise? Would I know it under a different name, or is it just Final
It's
Fantasy?
a video game franchise.
Right.
It's a video game franchise, but it is just the one movie
Oh, okay.
based on that.
Okay, because
They wanted
I
it to be more movies, but it wasn't.
It was not.
no, but I'm guessing from how you've talked about it that it's not great.
Oh well.
It's not a particularly good story, but it's like almost it's all CGI and it's from like 2001.
It's like the first thing that did like photorealistic CGI.
And they were trying to make a new wave of digital actors.
Oh
would
man, what a
approximate
yeah!
human people.
I think I saw like trailers for it, but yeah, I never went back in because I thought it was a different movie. I thought it was what's the zombie one with Mila Jo?
Oh, Resident
Oh,
Evil.
Resident Evil.
I used to
Resident
get that confused with Final Fantasy because isn't there a Resident Evil Final something or other?
Well, the Resident Evil's also based on video games, so that might be where you're making the connection.
Maybe. And I've only seen one section of that movie because of the miracle of cable where you tune in and you go, oh, it's this movie. And it's the same piece I've already seen. The hallway sequence where they get lasered into cubes of meat. That's the only sequence
always
I've
on.
seen out of the movie, but I've seen it hundreds of times.
But it is the best. Actually,
It is
it's
cool,
literally the
but-
best part of the whole franchise.
It is
the moment
always
I
on,
like in that
though.
movie.
Yeah, it is great. That first one's not bad. They do rapidly go downhill.
And they have a new one coming out this year.
Really? Is Mila still in it?
No, I think it's a reboot entirely.
Boo.
Canceled.
Canceled. Exactly. I don't like it. Let's see. If I'm thinking of a verdict, this is tough because I would either want to change Moonraker or Hateful Eight. Now, Moonraker's personal because I really like Moonraker, but it probably is a bad movie.
Probably. That's funny.
But Hateful Eight's not. Like, we should not have found Hateful Eight guilty.
yeah, it's almost
It
like
was-
you guys were wrong or something.
No.
I don't. Liesel brought a great case though. Again,
Yeah, sure. It needs to be shorter.
sh-
What a great case. Okay.
because a theater is a boring.
Theater is boring.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Hateful Eight. Hateful Eight was really a great movie and probably should have been not guilty. Trace, I don't know if you've seen Hateful Eight.
I'm still watching Hateful Eight.
Yes, you may be.
There you go.
I haven't gotten through it. But
it sounds.
I love that it was shot on 70 millimeter, so that you could see every square inch of that cabin interior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, it's a beautiful film. It is pretty long. I don't think the miniseries cut made it any better.
Now, did they make it longer when they made the miniseries?
By like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
What they did was they
couldn't make it any longer because there's not physics that exist to make time longer.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of the minutes that they added were just the credits, because now every episode begins with the opening credits, but you can skip them. So basically, it's like watching a shorter movie.
Wow, that's some Garth Marenghi style lengthening there.
The Eye Child. I do love Garth Marenghi's Dark
I would
Place.
love to see Garth Marenghi's Hateful Eight. Oh, that'd be so great.
There'd be more slow motion.
Trace, of the movies that you guys have riffed, do you think there's any that are worth a day in court here on the Reels of Justice?
Oh boy, I think any of them could stand their time in the dock and speak for themselves. Nah, Tingler's not. Maybe I would put. Maybe I'd put Phantom from Space in there. Because it's.
I think
it's got some interesting pedigree, but I don't know. I'm not good with the justice system.
Well, we are.
You leave that to us.
Yeah, we are crooked and we're wrong a lot.
We
too,
do take bribes.
just like the real justice system.
So, yeah.
So,
We're like the Star Chamber, but we do take bribes.
Tingler would be probably a good one to do, because I think it's got stuff to attack, but it's
also
probably
it's not bad. It's misunderstood.
Vincent Price would get that movie off, though. I mean, because remember, we have to prove it's a bad movie, and it's pretty easy to put reasonable doubt when you got like Vincent Price.
And Vincent Price tripping balls.
The
walls! The walls! Oh, so good.
He didn't even know they were making a movie.
Actually, Trace, you've seen so many movies, so many good and bad movies. Do you have kind of like a distilled definition of what makes a bad movie to you?
Well, there's different degrees of bad movie. There's unwatchable, and then there's
Sure.
riffable bad, and that's mostly what we're looking for is there should be some kind of plot. You should be able to see it, although we are constantly testing that with films like Walk the Dark Street. Should be able to hear it, and there should be something going on. And fortunately for us, we always seem to find them that have these weird, just strange, like Brain from Planet Arrows. Great example. Big, cool brain floating around. Really silly premise to the whole aliens coming here for like they're chasing an alien, which is a great idea. Hey, criminal alien being chased by the police aliens. We've never seen that before. But then there's all this whole like relationship thing. It's like, the alien brain just wants to get his horn dog on and it's just so weird. But I don't know. I don't know where that one would wind up, if it would go to the chair or if it would be, released.
We'll bring the chair back just for that movie.
Yes.
Do you think there's any degree of seriousness that a movie needs to take itself, even if they end up being silly?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It has to be dead serious.
Yeah.
You can see that Vincent Price is having a great time making the Tingler, but he's serious through it. He's not winking.
Sincere.
No. Yeah, it has to be a sincere effort to make a serious film. I'm not into the whole like fake bad movies, your sharks and things, and
I know there's a lot of word going around of like recommending movies to be riffed in the future, and there's a lot of them that are like that, like recommending Velocipaster and these movies that were already spoofs and parodies and weren't trying to be serious. And I just don't know I don't think those are riffable if they're not even trying. What are you gonna do?
I think anything is riffable. It's just whether or not you get the right rhythm with the film, and sometimes it's really hard to mesh with it, and I just don't find those enjoyable.
Because it's kind of like doing a duet. You gotta have
Yeah.
you gotta have something to kind of hang yourself on.
Right.
Yeah. I just couldn't see
petard.
riffing Young Frankenstein.
No, that's not. No, you would never do that.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how you couldn't riff Young Frankenstein and be like, that was a great joke he told.
Yes,
very funny.
Yeah, no, comedy on comedy doesn't work.
I think comedy on comedy works if the comedy actually fails and like what and they don't realize it does. Like just bad jokes that don't hit. I think stuff like that can sometimes work.
Yeah.
Where they're not aware of what a bad comedy it is.
Yeah, I haven't seen an example, or I can't cite an example, but I would say in theory, I would agree.
Yeah, something like that would work. And we always close out our shows, and we might as well our anniversary one too with a recommendation from our guests for a movie that you think people should see. So, what is a movie you think people should check out?
I would suggest any film of Roy Andersson. He's a Swedish filmmaker. Anderson, 2 S's and O-N. And he's just got a new one out now, and I can't remember the name of it, but Roy Andersson, look him up, Google him. Just very bleak, very but kind of hilarious. Just human beings being humans, but in this surreal world that he creates.
Oh, that sounds cool. Let's see. I've got to Google him and see if some of these titles.
It's hard to find.
2 S's.
I had to find the DVD of it through Netflix. Yes, Netflix still has Swedish DVD service, so it was only available.
Dylan, ask the Swedes.
I will talk to the Swedes about it. I actually have a ton of Swedish friends.
Well, they would be very, I'd probably right. No, well, he's a surrealist, so he's not everybody's cup of tea.
A pigeon sat on a branch, reflecting on existence.
Exactly. Yes,
that's one of the titles.
Yes, he's brilliant. He's like a painter. His color palette is amazing. He shoots all his stuff in camera. You go, oh, that's outside, and you go, no, that's in a studio. You go, no, that's outside. No, that's a studio shot. He's got some gorgeous, really poetic, lyrical stuff.
Adding it to the list.
Trace, do you find yourself attracted to those kind of movies because you have to watch so many bad movies, so you really want something more highbrow and sophisticated after all that?
I don't need highbrow or sophisticated. I just want something that I haven't seen before, something that surprises
Fair
me.
enough.
But then on the other hand, sometimes I want stuff I have seen before, and I want dumb, really fun action stuff or weird. Last night I watched Gentlemen Broncos. I don't know if you've seen that one.
It's the director of Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes, exactly. And just I don't really know what I think about it yet, but I would recommend that one. There's some really cool people in it. And then the night before that, I watched the 60s Day of the Jackal. There's your Moonraker tie-in. Drax, what's the actor that played that guy? Anyway, he just passed away this year too. But so I watch everything. A friend of mine scours the video bins at the dollar store and is always coming up with great stuff.
Oh yeah, a lot of those public domains they'll put in those sets of like 50 movies
and things that should have gone public domain, like Rubber. That's the film.
Rubber.
Yeah.
Really?
The horror story about a tire that goes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I
mental.
love that movie.
I really like Rubber too, and you would be astonished how many times people recommend it be riffed. And I'm always like, no, it's already very aware
Yeah.
of
Oh, yeah.
how silly it is.
Yeah, and I never want to watch it again.
It's hard to do something that is as surreal as
Yes.
Quentin Dupieux.
Also, to backtrack for 1 second, Michael Lonsdale played
Mhm.
Drax in
Yes,
Joker.
yeah, brilliant actor. He's great in Ronin, also another great movie.
Ooh, that is a good one too.
The De Niro one?
Yes,
Frankenheimer.
Ah. Oh, Frankenheimer's the doctor, not the monster.
Oh, boo!
So, Ryan, since you booed me, you got a recommendation?
My recommendation this week is a silent comedy that proves that 1920s New York was an inescapable death trap. It's called Speedy, starring Harold Lloyd from 1928. Lloyd is often referred to as the third genius after Chaplin and Keaton, but there's something about his films that kind of thrill me in ways that the other two geniuses don't. It has this kind of sense of genuine danger and a chaos that isn't manufactured but spontaneous. It's currently streaming on HBO Max, the Criterion Channel, and Canopy. Support your local library.
So he's the Jose Carreras of silent films because he's the tenor no one can remember.
Sure, if I knew who that was, I would
don't
agree.
know. Harold Lloyd is pretty popular.
I think I just made my point.
No, great choice. I like those old silent movies too. Like the Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin stuff. I've seen a few of the Lloyds. They're pretty cool. And he hangs from
Yeah,
that
there are.
clock.
Yep, that's safety last.
Yeah, safety last, exactly.
Is he the guy that sits on the train while it's going, or is that Buster
That's
Keaton?
Buster Keaton.
Oh, okay.
That's the general.
Gotcha.
Dylan, what is your recommendation?
When I was asking about the train, I was moving my hand. It occurs to me no one can see that. Well, this is an easy recommendation for me. I'm going with a couple of my favorite movies, right? And this one is The Hunt for the Red October. It is the best submarine movie out there. It is a neat look at the naval side of the Cold War, and it is close, damn near close, to being a perfect film. Starring Sean Connery. It's awesome.
Better than Atragon?
Better than Atragon. I love Atragon.
Better
You
than
know
K-19
I love
Railmaker?
Atragon. Yes, much better than that.
Better than U571?
Yes, I would say that too. Now back to Atragon, which could also be a recommendation, but isn't, because Red October just a smidge better. But Atragon's a close number 2. That's got to count for something.
Better than Down Periscope?
Well, yeah,
Wow.
as much.
Better than
Better
Das
than
Boot?
McHale's Navy, too. I
Better
mean,
than
what
Das
is...
Boot?
Yes.
Well, maybe not Das.
Better than Crimson Tide.
Ben, what do you got for us?
Well, in the spirit of the retrospective, I've spent more than my fair share of time praising the acting stylings of Miss Karen Gillan, so I'm going to go with Oculus, which is a kind of a different spin on a horror movie in that, like, there's not really ghosts haunting them. It's this mirror that sort of like projects things into their mind. So it's kind of like you're not sure what the people are experiencing, if it's real or it's not. It's always subverting your expectations in that way. So it's a pretty fun watch. So
The light
check that one
bulb
out.
apple. Oh,
I didn't want to
thinking about it.
I didn't want to give that scare away, but yeah, that is probably the best one in the movie.
I can just imagine. I've never seen it, and that it's very evocative. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
All right. So I'll send us on home. For my recommendation, I'm going to go with Kronos from 1957. It's about a gigantic rampaging robot that comes to Earth from space, naturally, and begins to siphon away all of our energy. And it grows larger and larger the more energy it absorbs. And the only thing that can stop it is human ingenuity. So we're fucked. Kronos was directed by Kurt Newman, who also directed The Fly, one of my personal favorites. It is
the David Cronenberg one or the original?
The original. How could he direct the Cronenberg
Given it would be a
one?
David Cronenberg
Exactly.
film otherwise.
Thank you, idiot. It is currently a streaming nowhere, and it's pretty hard to find on DVD too. And they've apparently pulled it down.
So this is
YouTube.
a nice little scavenger hunt for you listeners out there.
I have no idea how you're supposed to watch it. I'm truly sorry because
Not
it
on
is
Archive?
awesome. It used to be on Archive.
I recommended the Frank after it was pulled from distribution, so I think we're fine.
Yeah, exactly. But do whatever you can. Try to find Kronos from 1957 if you can. And with that, that's all the time we have now. But we want to thank our guest, Trace Beaulieu, for joining us. We really appreciated having you and looking back on the year that was.
Yeah, actually, I've done my hour here. I need to I need to go pee. That's the crisis I'm facing. But it's been great talking to you guys. I'm gonna log out now.
Oh, great. And we hope to have you back. And we hope that everyone else will join us again, too, as the reels of justice keep turning.
Okay.
Count it.
Please follow us on Twitter at Reels of Justice, Instagram Reels of Justice, and Facebook.com/Reels of Justice.